From Hippie Picks, Season 2 of Hippie Pick Interviews. Today I have a very special guest. Let me tell you about him. This man was in a band when I was a kid who influenced and changed my life. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, guess what? He is the next Hippie Pick artist to be endorsed by Hippie Picks. He's got the blue arrowhead-shaped guitar pick. His name is Bryan Stacks. Let's get him on the horn. What's up, man? Where you at? There you are. There. What's up, man? Where'd he go? He left. Oh my gosh. Are you there?
Hello.
What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, Mark?
Pretty good, my friend. How are you?
I am splendid.
So the interview was nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Or not the interview, I guess the intro. My bad, sorry. The intro was nothing crazy. What I told people right before I pulled you in was that you were in a band way back in the day that influenced my musical career.
Wow.
And I have to say this, okay? Like, I don't even think I've told you the gravity of what's going on, okay?
Okay.
I was a kid. I was like 11 years old. And my Aunt Jennifer's boyfriend at the time took me to a Petra concert. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Petra, they're some 80s Christian rock band. They're awesome. Go check them out. But the guy that I'm talking to right now was in the opening band, the opening act for Petra. Their name was Shaded Red. Now, this was my first concert ever. So before Petra, Shaded Red was my first concert I had ever seen, ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Now get this, okay? To this day, I regret one thing in my entire life. I got to talk to the guys to Shaded Red after the concert, but I didn't buy any merch.
Oh, no.
I know. So I talked to my mom and we went to like the local music store and we tried to find a Shaded Red album. We couldn't find one until Christmas of that year.
Oh, okay.
I got my first Shaded Red album ever, and I got my first guitar ever.
That's a big year. That's a huge year. Well, the guitar in particular, I might say. Yeah.
And the fact that like, so those two have always went hand in hand. My first guitar and Shaded Red. And now I'm in a position in my life where you, a former member of Shaded Red, are on the Hippie Pick roster for artists.
That's crazy how things play out sometimes, you know?
Insane.
Yeah, man. It's really cool. I love that story.
Yeah. So let's get into you, because this show is not about me. I'm just the host, but it's about you, right? So this is Bryan Stacks. Say hello.
Nice to meet you, everybody.
Hello, everybody. He is the new artist to be endorsed by Hippie Picks. He has the blue arrowhead-shaped guitar pick made by me from Hippie Picks. Ooh, look at that. Look at that.
There it is. Woo.
Yeah.
You see that? Mountain blue, no less.
Mountain blue.
Yes.
Yes, that's the color Bryan chose, which is great. Awesome. It's very nice to have you on the roster, man. So how did you hear about Hippie Picks? Let's start there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that all came about by connecting with you, which I have to admit I was a little bit late on there. There's some time ago, what, a year and a half, something like that. You had shot out a message just looking to touch base and that sort of thing. Of course, me being sort of the technological bonehead I can be sometimes, I totally never saw the message until much later when I came across it, and I was like, oh wow, this really cool note this guy Mark wrote to me here. So much belated after the fact, wrote you back, and that just got us chatting. Man, that looks delicious. What are you drinking there?
Okay, look. So for starters, let me say this. I don't know if you can see this. I made this by myself.
No way.
Yeah, so Mother's Day of this year, me and my son, who is 2 next week, we took my wife, his mother, on this huge Mother's Day thing, and we got to do. It's called. No, I don't know what it's called, but you get to paint pottery and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
she painted like 3 owls stacked on top of each other. Like we made a cookie jar. We made all kinds of this huge fun day. But I made this coffee mug. Now,
It's
this
beautiful.
coffee mug has an unofficial sponsor of Hippie Picks. They don't sponsor the show. We're not endorsed by them. I would love to be, but C4. I want to smash this, but it's still streaming. Yeah, so I'm drinking C4. So what's funny is when I sent you that message, I wasn't making guitar picks. That was not a thing.
Right?
But by the time you responded to me, I was already well on my way to make the world's one and only arrowhead-shaped guitar pick.
There it is.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
So cool. Not that you have to get super detailed on it, but just, I mean, I love the arrowhead shape idea. How did you think of that? How'd that come to you?
Okay, so this was not planned, but I brought some wooden picks just to show you.
Okay.
And when I first started making them, what had happened was I was at my father-in-law's woodworking shop because he loves woodworking, right? This was the year before I sent you that message. So 2018, right? And my goal was to make everybody a Christmas gift made out of wood, right? So I was doing this for my mom, doing that for my brother, doing like a candlestick holder for my wife, like all kinds of different things. And one day I was at a shop and I was like, what's in my pocket? Like, oh, it's a guitar pick. And I went, my buddy, Chance, who, by the way, shout out to Chance Carey, because he runs my website, playhippiepicks.com. He's the guy in charge of all that. I was like, you know, it'd be cool. Like, I'm going to try and make a wooden guitar pick for my buddy. Now, didn't turn out the best, but to this day, he still has it. And it was cool. And then about a year later, like not a year, like the following year, I guess, since it was Christmas, I had some leftover wood and I started making wooden picks. I dropped one. I started making wooden picks.
Right.
And I didn't think anything of it. And I thought, you know, like I'll just post these up on Facebook and see what people think. Well, people wanted them. And I sold about $100 worth in like 3-4 days. And I was like, time to get serious. So
the light bulb goes off.
So I started making wooden picks. This is maple and this is mahogany. I don't know how well you can see it because the light. But
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have light.
Woo.
There you go. See it?
That's pretty. That's really pretty, man.
Yeah. So I started making them out of wood. And one day I made a mistake. As I'm cutting them, I cut a little too far in that way. And I was like, you know what? I might be able to redeem this. No big deal. So I kept cutting around here and I'm just cutting out the shape of the pick.
Right.
I cut a little deep on this side and I was like, duh, and I just threw it on the ground. I was like, this is a wasted pick. I can't do anything with it. So I grabbed another piece of wood and I start working on another piece and I kept looking over it. I'm like, that kind of looks like an arrowhead. That's weird. So I went, well, that'd be kind of cool to make an arrowhead pick. So I got a piece of wood and I designed, and I still have it to this day. I've never sold it. It's not for sale. It won't be for sale ever. But the first 2 arrowhead shaped picks that I made, the one was the mistake and I turned it into the arrowhead. But the second one was like my first attempt at an arrowhead. And I thought, somebody's had to do this before. Like, this is not, I'm not that smart. I'm not like genius at creating amazing ideas. Somebody's had to create the arrowhead shaped guitar pick. No.
Not so, huh?
There was one company, and I will never say their name just because they're going to beat themselves up if I ever do. But there was one company that I found, and it was like, just a local person who makes picks and sells them on like Etsy and eBay and whatever.
Right.
And the post read, made a one-off pick. Looks cool. Looks kind of like an arrowhead or like a duck foot. I think I'm going to call it the duck foot. And I was like,
okay, you call it the duck foot.
yeah, call the duck
Right.
foot. And I follow this person to this day, and they've never made another arrowhead shaped nothing.
Yeah, right.
And I thought, that's nuts. So I got legal involved. I started looking into this, and then I patented the world's one and only arrowhead shaped guitar pick, designed by me and played by you.
So in the words of Bob Ross, here comes this happy accident.
Yes. Bob Ross. Cool.
You gotta love it when that happens.
I have a funny side note Bob Ross story. When I was a kid, my grandmother used to watch Bob Ross every day, and she watched us, right? One day, and she would paint. She would like follow along, and she would try her best, right? One day, she was asleep when Bob Ross came on. So me and my little brother Eric decided, let's try it. We painted the couch, the chair, the carpet, the walls. Oh, we got in trouble.
Oh man.
Thank you, Bob Ross.
So then you have your unhappy accidents as well.
Yes. Well, yeah. I tell you what's funny is my mom, when she got there, she said, "Did you spank them?" And my grandma said, "No." My mom said, "Why not?" And she said, "If I would have spanked him, I would have killed him."
Ooh.
Yeah. So
she's
I
pretty heated.
How mad she was. To this day, she's all right with it. But like she said, if I'd have whipped him, I'd have killed him.
Oh man.
And, I mean, like brand new carpet, brand new everything in the living room, basically, like, yeah, it's probably still there to this day on the wall if I had to go check. But yeah, either way. So let me ask you this, man. Let's get back to you. You were in a band called Shaded Red.
True story.
How did you get into that?
Yeah, so this goes way back into the day. So I'll spare you every last detail, but here's some of the high points. So the main brothers of that group, that'd be Jamie and Jonathan Roberts. Man, I knew those guys since we were all literally children. So there's a way that came about with my very initial interest in music, which I had a little bit of prompting from my parents. I took piano lessons from their mother, so from John and Jamie's mom.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right. So I was pretty young at that point. And so, as far as what that would entail, about once a week, I'd go over to their house. And Jamie is a little bit older, but John and I were pretty close to the same age.
Okay.
So we just got to hanging out. And a lot of that was through some church functions as well, in that their dad was a pastor of their church. Yeah. Right. So then their mom was like the music, let's say, program director. And yeah, she was, talented family. You know what I mean? As far as the musical talent that the brothers had, by and large, they got it from their mom. I think, she's brilliant piano player, arranger. So I gotta say, I guess I picked up a lot of my chops from her. So I got to thank her for that. But I wasn't the world's best student either. I was one of those guys that was like, as a matter of fact, funny story. I remember one time where she could kind of tell that I wasn't practicing the way I should have been doing. And as it happens, John and I had some plans to hang out. I just remember her kind of being kind of stern, you got to practice or you can't hang out with John. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little story there. Anyway, fast forward to us, I mean, we hung out a lot, and man, we love music. And with the environment that we were in, I think it was unique in as much as, I was 12, 13 years old, getting up on a stage and performing an actual show.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was various iterations of what we were doing, but eventually it culminated into this idea of where, first we're playing youth group functions here and there. Probably back in the back of our minds is kind of bumping around, hey, it'd be really cool if we got some kind of deal and could put a record out, as is the thought for pretty much everybody who's doing this, right? And some time went by, and it's like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But then lo and behold, it ended up happening. So
Nice.
yeah. So then that was all kind of on to the next chapter of the band and what happened there. But yeah, I mean, the origins of it honestly were, us three, as well as some other friends of ours, just cutting our teeth on, learning to play, just learning everything, really. I mean, we definitely had the desire and the passion for it. And, I'm sure we sucked pretty good for a long time, but, it's just, keeping at it.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect. And, things got a little bit better. And one thing I always really, really appreciated too, just one of my favorite human beings is, I mean, if you listen to those records, the drummer on that album is Rudy Royston. So the dude is he's a monster, right? I say that enduringly. He's like the sweetest man you could ever meet. Behind the drum kit, however, he's a monster. As it happens, Jamie was going to Denver University, was classmates with Rudy, and Rudy was doing all kinds of different programs. I mean, if you look him up now, I will say he's a prominent leader in the jazz community. I don't know if you've seen like some of the records he's been putting out and the stuff he's been doing, but I will say I'm a big fan. If anybody is interested in, just look him up. He's doing some great stuff.
This is gonna sound insane, but like, keep in mind, like, you guys influenced my musical career my whole life because you were the first band I ever saw. But like, you hear people talk about drummers being in the pocket, not too much, not over the top. I mean, they're amazing, but you got like the guy from AC/DC. I can't remember his name. What's his name? The drummer.
Yeah, I should know that.
I know.
Yeah.
We both are hate messages in the comments right now. But like,
Right.
you got AC/DC, you got Dave Grohl and Nirvana,
Yes.
and they're amazing musicians, but they don't overplay, but they play hard. And they go,
Right.
ugh, right? And then at the core, it's basic. And you're like, dude, insane, right? Like, when I listen to Shaded Red, I've always felt like the drummer is just so like, it's so aggressive, but so simple, right? Like, you listen to a song and you're just like hi-hat and snare, and it's so intense. And like, even like some of the, like the lead work on the first album, where like you guys get into those like breakdowns, build-ups, and it's like really big build-up, the drummer's just going, and you're like, dude is solid.
Yeah.
Dude is amazing,
Yeah. So that, yeah, I can't say enough about Rudy, but that, yeah, so it was a pleasure to play with him when I had a chance. He's out on the East Coast now, and basically, pandemic notwithstanding, he's normally touring the world with what he's doing now.
But he was not the touring drummer for Shaded Red, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. And that by and large was, just the various different commitments that we had at that point. Even around that time, I want to say Rudy was just newly married, so that makes a difference. I mean, you don't, that can put a damper on wanting to leave your town.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you get it.
But yeah, so we went through iteration, various different drummers, kind of went to seeing who was available. um for my stint of it, a lot of it was some really talented dudes. I think probably the show that you saw was a gentleman by the name of Brett Vargason, which I don't know if you remember this, and I'm pretty sure that there on that tour there's a couple other bands playing as well. One guy's his name is John Cox, which is kind of acoustic rock guy,
Yeah.
very talented. His backing band, they were just all like ace players, and that was Brett. He played in that band too. And so he played with us for a while. And then I don't know if you remember a band called PFR.
Hang on. PFR. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
They were Pray for Rain originally,
Okay.
but they came across some copyright issues
Okay.
with that, so then they had to go to the acronym. But they were really kind of like sort of Beatley, crowded house,
Yeah.
pop
Yeah.
kind of thing. So we played with their drummer
I'm
for a
not gonna
while.
lie. I remember two things about this concert. One, at one point, this guy broke out in a trumpet, and to this day, the trumpet is the only instrument I've always wanted to play but never mastered. I've never even had a trumpet, but like that guy was like, dude, you're at a rock and roll concert, and the guy's like, hang on, and you're like, what? Right?
Yeah,
And then I
yeah,
remember the drummer from Petra was wearing a Mickey Mouse T-shirt. That's
of course.
literally the only two things I remember from the concert. So, but
Yep, 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 yep.
I
That
do,
was
I do want to move the conversation forward because we could talk about this all day. But
true.
so,
True.
I mean, this is like 20 years later. So, what's
Right.
going on now? Like, what happened post band? Where are you at now? What's going on with you?
All right. Well, that's a fair question. So, yeah. So I'll say that from the point that our paths diverged, as far as me and Shaded Red, they went on to go on a little. They did a few things where ultimately, sidestepping a real long explanation on this, um, I I felt like I had to stop touring for a while. So
Okay.
so I moved back home to my home in Colorado. That's where we're all from.
Okay.
And part of what was happening is that at the time I was dating my fiance, I guess at the time. I don't know if she knew that at that point, or I knew that, but just seeing if the sparks were going to fly, see if things were going to take off. And yeah, so we hung out for a few years, and you actually, maybe not even that, because we got married pretty early on. We got married when we were like 23 years old.
Okay.
And as far as life happening at that point, it was just that's a time I maybe took some time off a little bit from music in general and just kind of reassessed. Inevitably, the itch came back to start playing, and that came initially in the form of a good friend of mine, Chris, who was always around sort of the Shaded Red group as well. So he was always present there, and at some point would play in the band too, in certain different iterations. But since we were like 13, 14 years old, we've been playing together, writing songs, etc., etc. Fast forward, like you said, 20 plus whatever years later, we're still doing that.
Nice.
So so this would be referring to a band currently known as Hold Me Hostage,
Yeah.
right? Primarily, and this would be my friend Chris Thomas, who kind of is at the helm of the ship for that one. He kind of does the majority of managing, writing. I do a little bit of co-writing with him, and I try to help out where I can, but it's really reflective of definitely influences that we've had. But the thing I will say about Chris is the dude is like relentlessly creative, like to the point where I'm sure it drives him crazy, right? So he's just like he can't walk down the street without coming up with some kind of melody, literally. So it's like, okay, well, I've got my phone here and probably a gazillion ideas, so the wheels are always turning. So at any rate, that's Hold Me Hostage. It's a little bit harder rock on the side of things, but as we say, there's some hard rock, pop, soul, little metal influence.
What's funny was when you and I first started talking, and I was like, "So what are you into now? Like, what are you doing now?" And you sent me a link to Hold Me Hostage. I was looking at it and I was like, "It's not what I was expecting." Because the only thing was from like back in the '90s, and I knew as a musician myself, we grow, and we move forward, we progress. So like I've always had this idea of like Shaded Red just being the same age forever and looking the same,
Right.
and like
Yeah.
here's what I do now, and I'm like, this is friggin' awesome. Yeah. Not that Shaded Red wasn't. I love Shaded Red, but like it just watching and exploring different things you've done, I've been like, dude, this is freaking sweet. And so you have an album that you're coming out with soon, correct?
Yes. Yes. So that even that aside, I mean, there's been various other bands that for the most part have kind of come and gone, if you will. So as of late, I decided to act on a little idea I had popping around my head for a couple of years, where I love to write as well. I mean, I'm perhaps maybe not as prolific as some of my friends, but some of that's sometimes I just got to sit down like, okay, I gotta finish these songs or they'll never get done, kind of thing, right? But the idea behind it was, through working with some of these bands, I guess in my area, and then also just with some other artists, musicians that I really love as well, that have like been a big influence on me. I was like, wouldn't it be cool to collaborate with some of these people and have them sing these songs? So ultimately, that's what it is. It's just I don't know, genre wise, I guess maybe kind of indie pop rock. I mean, it depends on the song, I suppose. But my buddy Chris, for instance, and a few other friends of mine, Adrian Osborne, who's very prominent presence in the Denver music community, as well as former bandmate Rachel Irvin, same there. Just amazing singers. So of course I'm like, hey, you guys, please come sing on my record, and graciously they agreed. And then in addition to that, I'm gonna cite even a big influence, even hearkening back to the Shaded Red days, would be the band The Posies, which at
Yeah,
that time, you're right,
you told me about them very
right,
early on. Yeah.
yeah. So that was kind of my uh big musical influence moment, was hearing one of their records around that time. And I mean, long story short, I love those guys. To me, they're incredible songwriters, performers, singers. It's like the whole package kind of deal. And so through this project I was working on, I was able to connect with one of really they're sort of a duo. So one of the members, his name's Ken Stringfellow, who agreed to work with me on this album as well. So lending some of his lead vocal and in harmony singing chops, which he has many chops in that department. So it's been great, man. It's just been kind of a you know uh something great to work on. And yeah, it's
So when I know the answer to this, but when for everybody else watching, when does this album come out? When can people hear this album?
yes, so we're getting close to that. The name of the project is Head Shadow, to reference that. Name of the album is The Future is Fiction. And that
I
is kind
love
of,
when you sent me. So tea time out.
yeah.
Before we even started doing the Hippie Picks endorsement or even talking about it or anything, like this guy was like, "Do you want to hear my new album I'm working on?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And so you sent it to me, and you were like, "Yeah, it's called the Future is Fiction," and I was like, "I have not heard one song off this yet, but that is the coolest title I've ever heard. The Future
Right.
is Fiction." Where did you come up with that?
Well, I can't say that I totally coined it, but there's something well, I'll tell you my main thought behind it, but I think I've seen it used in other places before. But the main thought is as much, I mean, it might as well be fiction is the idea, because as much as you and I can talk and speculate what we think tomorrow's going to look like, it might as well be just a little short story that we write. And for all intents and purposes, it's not true, because we just don't know. It's
I
you
like
know
I like get out of your head, ladies and gentlemen. It's not real. Not that it's not real, but it reminds me of like like having an argument with somebody in your head,
yeah,
and then being mad at them for what they said when you had the argument in your own head. I was like,
right.
that is real. Like you just you have this idea of how things are going to be, and it's 9 times out of 10 not.
Yeah, and then that's really it. I guess really it boils down to our working concept of what the future is. And for me, it's trying to keep that in check a little bit, because I mean, if you get into concepts of like, stressing yourself out, anxiety, so much of that comes from our concept of the future. And to quote Tom Petty, who's another guy that I like. One of his song lyrics is, I'm sure I'm going to botch it, is like, you know, half a dozen of the things I worry about don't happen anyway. And it's like, is it how true is that? You got this thing in the back of your head and you're like, oh man, I'm just dreading how this whole scenario is going to play out. And it's always worst case scenario, and it's always incorrect in my experience, by
Yeah,
and large.
I think that's life. I think that's life, though. I think a lot of times people have this concept of what will happen or what the other person's going to say, and they anticipate. Like
Yeah.
say this, they're going to say that, and then my response is going to be this, and then their response is going to be that, and then this, that, and then you boil down to like the core issue, and then the other person's like, okay, and that's not what you were. You know what I mean? Like you had this
Non-event.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like you had this whole argument prepared and you're ready. Like I practiced every comeback line I was gonna say to this person, and they were just like, okay. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not expecting that. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that I guess that's a little bit of insight behind it. I mean, and some of the content kind of speaks to that, I guess. I mean, maybe not definitively, but
Yeah.
just working through I'll say one theme to support that is being present, being in the moment, how difficult that can be sometimes. So there's a song on there, it's called Ever Elusive, where the idea behind it is like, oh, I'm always thinking of this elusive concept, which is sort of distorting the vision of what's like actually right in front of me, which pretty easily relatable concepts. But I mean, not that I'm breaking any new ground, but we'll call it maybe my own kind of cathartic process as I analyze, what stuff I need to work on and, do better at, so and then the beauty of songwriting, where it kind of just comes out that way. So that's a little, maybe too much info behind it, but as far as some of the thoughts on it, and so it's digital only release, at least at this time, which is set for October the 1st. Yeah, so it's going to be your, what y'all would come to expect in distribution. So, you got your, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora. I mean, I think there's a bunch of others I can't even
Napster,
Oh, yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. Exactly. LimeWire. Yeah, if you want to get it for free.
Yes.
It'll jack up your machine, but
and of course you can find links to all his stuff on Hippie Picks. We promote and sponsor and endorse what you're doing, man.
Dude, thank you. And likewise. I mean, I think this is a beautiful arrangement. I mean, as I've mentioned to you, in some things I was kind of writing up on this too. I love the branding of the company. I mean, at least as far as kind of my interpretation to it. And it's just like, makes me smile, dude. Be a hippie,
Interpretation of it. I'm curious. I'm dying to know right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's all right, another quote here for you to quote Elvis Costello here in this case. We'll say, really, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? It's crazy if you look at that song now, because it's an older song, okay. But it hits just right. I don't know. I was listening to it the other day, and it's like sort of lyrically and just not digging too deep into it, but it's a simple concept, right?
Yeah.
Peace, love, and understanding. That's something that I can get behind.
It makes me think. I want to go back and re-listen to that song and just sort of analyze it in a different perspective now.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Maybe in the context of a little bit more than midway through 2021. Yeah, man, it's a good jam.
Yeah, cool. I definitely will look into it. Now, real quick, with your album, and none of this was prearranged. So like there were times where you'd send me messages and I would be like, dude, that's awesome. Was there anything special that you used or played with when you were recording that album?
As a matter of fact, as again, just the timing of all this happening. Because again, like when we first started chatting, I was fairly early on in working on this. Okay. And so like, yeah, man, I'm making picks. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Send me some. And you did. Thank you. And so, yeah. So, dude, well, and one thing I'll add, I did play bass in Shaded Red, but I guess you could say I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I spend had the piano lessons, that sort of thing, as a lot of musicians are these days. But I have I do have this undying preference for a lot of guitar. That's always going to be a benchmark. It's got to be there. So there's a whole lot of guitar with a whole lot of Hippie Pick strumming those strings on this album.
Well, what was nuts was like you and me had talked here and there, and you had sent me like one song. I don't even remember what song it was, you're like, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, who am I? I'm nobody. Like, I didn't know my opinion. And then like we talked and you're like, well, like, here's the album if you want to hear it. And I was like, yeah, like I feel special. I get to hear the album before it comes out. And then you come back with, I played Hippie Picks on like 90% of that album. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Like, and so at that point, I was like, okay, like we need to talk about helping each other out, like let's do an endorsement. But like the fact that you chose to on your own be like, I want to put this guy's picks on my album. I love him. What makes you love them so much? I'm just curious.
I love the feel, right? Okay, and in this one in particular, the gauge, the thickness here, I don't know what it is. It just it's just right. It just feels right. Depending on the position of what I'm doing, like if it's something that needs a little bit more attention to detail, can get right up on the tip there, and it's, I don't know, man. It's just if it's solid. It's solid. I made the mistake of, and I'm also, classic losing picks by the dozen in the dryer, right?
Yeah.
So that always happens. So in a panic, I'm always like, okay, I got to run out and buy cheap whatever, and that's always a mistake. Just get these, well, and here's the other thing. The majority of what I do actually is playing live. So I've got this pet recording project, right? But that's not by the hours. I play live most of the time.
Okay.
And I've got this pretty bad habit of just breaking picks clean in half, believe it or not. But this isn't going to break. You know what I mean? At least, nah, I don't think so. It's not going to break.
Only one person has broken a pick so far. That was a buddy of mine, and he like, I don't know what he did, but he was like, I broke this, and I was like, what?
How?
Nobody's broken a pick. I've broken picks while making them, right?
Okay.
Like that's one thing, but nobody else, to my knowledge. Now, if you're out there and you're like, I've broken your stupid pick, let me know. Let me know. I'm willing to like amend that statement. But one person that has broken a pick, to my knowledge, and he destroyed that thing. And I said, dude, I gave that to you last week. He said, yeah. And I was like, what kind of guitar player are you?
Yeah, I'm like super curious now. I'd love to see what's happening with that.
His name is DJ, and he plays acoustic guitar only.
Right.
And like nobody has broken a pick to my knowledge. And like I'm the type of guy who's like, if you got an issue, let me know. You know what I mean? Like if you don't like it, let me know. I want to help. I want to figure out what you want. But at the end of the day, like not every pick is for everybody. I know that, like not everybody likes wooden picks, not everybody likes acrylic or whatever, but one buddy of mine broke a pick and I was like, dude,
wow.
And he's like, I don't know, I was just playing. Whatever, man.
First time for everything, right?
Well,
so say that kind of reminds me something we were chatting about the other day. It seemed like there was some kind of little news coming down the line in regards to now some kind of arrangement with the store or something. Am I off base on that, or did I dream that?
Okay. I haven't made this announcement online yet, but we'll do it now.
Cat's out of the bag. Hey,
that's all right. So you can now buy Hippie Picks in stores.
Dude, that's awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. Not like stores across the entire world. Let's start there. But
not yet. But,
yes, yeah. But that's the goal, right? That's the goal. Yeah. I called Sweetwater Guitar very early on in my pick making, and I said, I know this conversation isn't going to end with congratulations, we're going to sell Hippie Picks, but I said, what's it going to take to get me there? And the dude was honest. And I was like, bet. It may take me 5 years. Next time I call you, I'll have everything you said done. And he's like, for real? I said, I've been taking notes since I got on the phone with you,
Yeah, right.
But there's a music store here in my area. It's not in my town. It's probably 30 minutes away from me that I grew up going to. And they have a handful of locations. They've been in business for over 100 years. It's called Willis Music. And we've been in works for a few months now to get sorry. You just hit this thing and it shakes and you're like, nah, you know,
Oh no, earthquake.
Yeah. But it's a done deal. September 18th. That's the day.
Dude, congratulations, man. I'm super stoked for you. And I know you, and I just gotta say, I mean, you have a great product, you have great branding and such a positive energy that I'm proud of you, man. That's great.
It's just it's about having fun. Like it's silly because I'll be 100% honest with you. When I first started, like there were things that I would do that I'd be like, oh my gosh, why? But then like I started thinking, like I'll do it. Like I don't know anybody. Like, and then people would be like, dude, that's hilarious. And they're like, you guys like me and my silliness, and it's like I just get to be me. I get to be silly. I get to be a hippie.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, so September 18th, we're doing a live event at the Willis Music in Florence, Kentucky location. We'll be giving t-shirts like mine, like yours. Do you have what shirt do you have on by chance?
Oh my God. See, I thought I was, look at that. What a coincidence.
What are the odds?
Yeah. I guess, yeah, be a hippie.
You can cut it on the sleeves or you can cut it at the belly. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I'm not going to promote those photos. Just kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah, but like, so I guess today's Wednesday. We'll make the announcement Thursday. So Thursday, I'm going to make the big announcement that you can buy Hippie Picks in stores at Willis Music. They have like 5-6 locations.
Right.
What's cool is I've been in the works with other companies in other stores other than Willis Music, but from the beginning, I've said, time out. Like, I want to get this deal done with Willis Music. And here's why. I grew up at Willis Music, right? Like, anytime I needed something, like my mom got me my first guitar. We had that conversation way early in the beginning at Willis Music, right? Like, I needed new strings, go to Willis. I needed new picks, I go to Willis. Anything I needed, I've always went to Willis Music, right?
Nice, right.
Yeah, so like people started talking to me like, do you want to get your picks in stores? And I'd be like, yeah, but I wanted at Willis first. So I have options and opportunities to get picks in more stores. And even like, dude, not gonna lie, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I have a friend of mine and he's in the UK. And I have an opportunity to get my picks in stores over there.
Woo!
But I told him, I go, time out. Like I need to finish this deal first because I feel like I owe it to Willis Music to launch my Hippie Picks career of indoor sales with their store because they've been so amazing and so loyal and so helpful. And like they've pushed me and like, dude, my band back in the day would play there sometimes. We shot a video there. I mean, like they have been amazing to me. And the fact that like I could go to like the people in charge and say, hey, like I'm some random nobody, but can I sell my picks through you? And they're like, yeah. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like just, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff had to happen before that.
Of course.
But yeah, man. So September 18th, anybody who's in Kentucky, come out. Florence, Kentucky, you'll get free t-shirts. You have to win them, but we'll be giving out free stuff. We'll do live stuff. Cody Hicks, my other endorsing artist, right?
Right.
So Cody's probably going to be mad because, okay, so Willis Music, big, huge. Cody Hicks going on tour with Cheap Trick.
No kidding.
Right.
Like playing with them?
No. So his band is going on tour with him.
Okay, so yeah, I've seen where they've been getting out playing with some great national acts, but Cheap Trick, dude.
Yeah, I will say this. As far as like Cody goes, Cody's a musician for hire. So like, he has played with some some huge bands, like on stage with the band, right?
Right.
When I say Cody's going on tour, Cheap Trick, he's not playing in the band Cheap Trick, but he's going on tour with them. I can tell you some stuff that he's done and some stuff he's told me not to really say on camera, so I can't say it. But Cody's done a lot of amazing things, and he's behind the scenes a lot, doing a lot of huge stuff.
That's awesome.
Something happened recently, and he's like, "Do not promote this yet." So I'm like, "Okay, I won't say nothing." But I am allowed to say that he's going on tour with Cheap Trick. They're doing, I don't even know how many shows. I don't know.
Well, if he comes through Denver, I'm gonna definitely try to look him up on that.
Yeah, he's done, dude. I mean, you and me could talk about Cody for days. I mean, yeah. And what's funny was he reached out to me. He bought some Hippie Picks, and he and I started talking. He really liked him, and I was doing these Hippie Pick interviews. And so I talked to him about doing an interview, and we started talking. And he said in like the middle of the interview or something, he's like, "Yeah, like I would like to get a Hippie Pick endorsement, like if that's an option." And I was like, "I don't know who you are, guy," you know? And
Yeah,
then
right.
through the course of like the whole interview, I was like, "This dude is awesome." You know, like I need to endorse him, but I didn't want to say that over the first interview that we had ever had on camera. So as soon as the interview was over, I was like, "Let's talk about an endorsement deal," you know? And then he got it, man. He got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, so he has the green arrowhead shaped guitar pick, and you have the blue. Let's get the camera light going. Oh, you can't. There we go. Blue.
Yeah.
Mountain blue, kind of like Mountain Dew.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah. But you know, as a native Coloradan, you know, driving up and down the Front Range, I gotta say, you know, when they got that blue shade on the mountains, that's it's always a beautiful sight.
That it's not shaded red.
No, not so much.
I'm sorry. Like you, me, and like two other people are ever gonna get that joke, but
yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, right.
We're
right.
almost out of time. We gotta kind of cut this short, but so I've decided for the season 2 of the Hippie Pick interviews to let the artist or pick maker or whoever I'm interviewing pick the outro song. So you have two options: happy endings, or I'm back. Now, to give you a little bit of heads up, I'm back was the song that we started with, very beginning of this, and it came out, and I'm like, yeah. So you got a little bit of it. So you can either hear the full song, or you can hear a brand new song called Happy Endings. It's up to you.
Well, you know, I'm always down to hear something new.
Okay. So, happy endings? Or
shall we?
Do what?
Or yeah, well, I don't know. How would you describe happy endings?
Happy Endings starts off slow. It's sort of a slow-paced song. It's got mandolin in it. And
nice.
I play all the instruments. What was funny was like in Happy Endings, something I wanted to do is, and if you listen to it close enough, you'll hear it. But out of all the chords in the song, I would record one track per chord. So like, let's say it was a G, I just strum that G. And then for the next cycle, and then strum that G, right? And I put this delay on there. So it goes G, and it just keeps going, right? So each track gets its own chord that just continues. So as I listen to it, I'm like, man, that's really cool. Because it's like, and then the chords just overlay, right? But then that delay continues, which I always thought was cool. Yeah, so I mean, the song is very interesting. It's slow. It's sort of about drug usage, but it's not about me. I put myself in perspective of the person that I was writing it about.
Okay.
And I say, she's the color of my sin buried deep beneath my skin. If I could do it all again, I'd try. And that's a reference to drugs. But like the whole song was like, I put myself in this other person's perspective who is battling drug use. I know we've all had our issues. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm a saint by any means. And if anybody is watching this, they know my past. But like at this moment in my life, happy endings was a point where like I felt like everything in my life was going right for me.
Right.
But then this other person who was always in my life and things were going great for, their world collapsed and things started going extremely downhill while mine was getting better. And at the end of the day, like this person wanted my life to get from where I was to up here, but this person's went from up here to like way down here. So it was like a reflective piece where it's like, I got better, but at what cost? At your cost? That's unfair, kind of, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you know, like there's like a line in there where it said, that's supposed to be me, but where's my happy ending? You know, and it's like, from that perspective, it's like, here I am, sober, clean living, doing well for my life, and things are going great for me. And this person's going downhill. This person used to be up here. And then like in the song, at least it goes, that's supposed to be me. And I thought that was like a very cool retrospective, you know, like take on the personification of sin and drug use. And I just thought, yeah, it's cool, you know. And I say she, the song talks about a she a lot, but the she is the reference to drugs, you know, which I thought was very poetic, a poetic sense, you know. And then
I love that. I love that. It echoes another one of my well, first of all, let me say now I'm completely intrigued, so I have to hear it. Okay, so I'm pulling for that one. But with the one of my favorite guys, I don't know if you know Elliott Smith. He's yeah, well, he it's similar subject matter. I think that he even kind of wrote a lot with his in light of his own challenges and struggles in life. But I mean, he would make some of those sort of lyrical analogies too, like personifying, you know, along those lines. But anyway, yeah, no, I really like that. And yeah, dude, I want to hear that song.
That one?
Yeah.
All right, man, that's a song. What was funny is like, I originally, when you and me set this up to do this interview today, like I was listening to some songs that I'd written and I went, that'd be a great song for this interview. And I forgot all about it. Like until earlier today, because I had a song in mind. I was like, I'm going to do this for the interview. I was like, I'm going to let him choose. So it was like this song or like another song. And I'm listening to some music. My song comes on. And I was like, yeah, I forgot about that one. Let's see which one he wants to listen to. So that's the one. We get to hear it. Yeah, man.
Yes. Cool. I'm digging it.
Awesome. Is there anything else you would like to say to the audience still following and still watching this extremely long interview?
Yeah. If you are, holy cow. Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, no, yeah, it's been fun. Pleasure chatting with you, Mark. I'm definitely super stoked on everything that's happening and across the board, you know, for everything you got going on. Great news there for Cody. You know, got some things on my plate. I'm super stoked on, and you know, it's just this whole thing with music that you know, brings people together. That's what's great about it. And no, this is a really, really cool idea. I was going to ask you, just purely curiosity, have you ever thought about doing a podcast?
You're not the only person that's asked me that. So originally, these interviews were set up to do video and podcasts. I would just take the audio over and put it on a podcast.
Right.
I never did that. But at the end of the day, you know, like I have Instagram, which kills it. Instagram is my biggest platform, right?
Okay.
I have the website, I have YouTube, I have TikTok and Facebook. Facebook is the least popular, right?
Right.
But like part of it is just because that I've learned that guitar pick community is on Instagram, right? So you have to know your target audience, right? And
Yeah.
while Facebook is good for what it's good for, it's not good for promoting guitar picks. It is what it is, right?
Got you there.
And I talked to my buddy Dustin probably Monday, I think. Yeah, I think it was Monday of this past week. And he was like, "Why haven't you done the podcast thing yet?" And I was like, "Man, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that I don't want to, but it's I have to establish."
It's another thing on your plate for sure. Yeah. So maybe as it may make sense. I mean, I see where it could maybe a good platform for you. And, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit of a fan in general of like, music topic podcasts, that sort of thing. And yeah, I don't know. It was just a passing thought.
I personally, I feel like I make the podcast and there's like one follower subscribed or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, like I have to build up to that and get to that level, So I'm
for sure.
But it is what it is. Like, maybe that's a goal for 2024. No, just kidding. 2022.
Well, I mean, you still have to keep making picks though. So
yes. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, part of me is like, like I have to make content. I have to make commercials. I have to promote. I have to make picks. I have to sell picks. I have to have my regular job. I have to have time with my family. It's a juggling act, and I'm not good at juggling.
So, you're never a dull moment, right?
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, Bryan, my man, great. Thank you so much for joining the Hippie Picks community.
Dude, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. It's really great to connect with you, Mark, and love the picks and looking forward to the future, which is fiction, but
true. Very true.
But well, it'll be a good story, I think, the way it writes out.
I like that optimism.
Yeah.
Well, you have a great night, my friend, and I will talk to you soon, okay?
All right, you too, buddy. Take care.
I'll see you.
Sounds good, man.
Bryan! Oh, don't look at my belly, guys. Come on. The second artist to be endorsed by Hippie Picks. And I hope you guys learned something today. I know it's been a very long video. I'm sorry for that. But such great opportunity to talk, such great conversation, and I hope you learned something today, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I love you. You know that. That's silly. I got my mug that I made. I'd like to thank Classic Barbershop for always sponsoring Hippie Picks interviews. Listen, if you're dealing with substance abuse, there's hope. There's help. There's so much going on in the world today, but there's an opportunity for you to get clean, to get sober, to make better choices. And I want you to reflect on that. I'm not judging you. I'm not going to judge anything you guys do. But if you want help, if you need help, there's people out there that are willing to help you, myself included. Message me, contact me. I love you. I don't want to see you be a statistic of death. I've had friends that have OD'd, died. That's not cool. It's not fun. There's hope and there's help. And this song is a reflection of that. I played all the parts on this song, so enjoy it. Go follow Bryan Stacks. Links in the bios. Go follow Cody Hicks. Links in the bios. I love you. And as always, be never meant to be this way. I know I fell, but I'm okay. I'm not the only one to blame. Yeah. Tear me open and lost. The parts of me I tried to hide, and everything I have denied. Yeah. She's the color of my soul. Inside of me I can't control. What she is I didn't know. She's the color of my sin, buried deep beneath the skin. If I could do it all again, I'd try.
color of my soul. Side of me I can't control. What she is I didn't know back then. She's the color of my sin, buried deep beneath my skin. If I could do it all again, I'd try. Ooh, where's my happy ending? Where's my happy ending? She's the color of my soul. Inside of me I can't control. What she is I didn't know. But then she's the color of my sin, buried deep beneath my skin. If I could do it all again, I'd try. She's the color